All right. Wow. Ooh, that was a little more abrupt than I intended it to be. But here we are. Good morning, everybody. All right. So, normally Cameron cannot join us on a Thursday morning for work purposes, but we managed to grab him anyway. And I've also got Dan standing by, ready to join the show. So, let me go ahead and bring them in. Here's Cameron on the backup screen, and Dan joins us. Good morning, Dan. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm doing real good. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Cameron.
All right. So we're going to be talking this morning about, okay, look, hang on. I got to do a little microphone thing real quick. There, that should be much better. So this morning we're talking about the state convention. So let me just give you a little primer on what that is, what that means. And basically it's this: the leading up to the state convention, the Georgia State Convention for the Republicans, we have the local party caucuses to select candidates, to select nominees, to select delegates to go to the state convention. And the state convention is all about, meeting the candidates and selecting the party leadership. So I was trying to explain this to my wife yesterday, and I said, "So these guys aren't really these guys aren't politicians that are getting elected." Okay, that's not entirely correct. They're absolutely politicians. They're not government office holders that we're talking about electing at the convention. We're talking about electing people like the chairman of the GOP, the secretaries, those guys, the party offices. So, Dan, I couldn't make the convention this year. I've just got too many kids. But yeah. Dan was at the convention. He was there with Toby and Larry, and from our local Rockdale
Who's that?
GOP. Go ahead.
Who was there? You just said
Toby and Larry were there with you too.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah, they were definitely there. Yes, they were right in front of me. Yeah.
Toby is the former chairman of the Rockdale County GOP, and just this year he stepped down because he's been doing it forever. What did he have? 10 years in that? 10 or 12 years in that position.
So I think, but yeah, he's the current vice chair of the 4th district.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Larry Cox has stepped up to be the chairman here in Rockdale County. Larry's a good guy. I've known him for a hot minute. And y'all should check it. If you haven't watched it yet, especially if you're in Rockdale, you should definitely check out on Sunday evenings. Larry Cox does a show with Alex McDonald called This Week in Rockdale. And it's local politics. And guys, you need to understand this. All politics is local, right? It matters who is elected to positions at the federal level, absolutely, and you need to pay attention and vote and vote and vote. But you really need to pay attention at the local level, because at the local level, you can do more than simply vote without having to expend a great deal of additional energy. You can attend party meetings, and you can meet the candidates. You can speak directly to them. I've had conversations at local party meetings with Dan Schaefer, with Brian Kemp, Vernon Jones. The list goes on. I've met most of our elected officials in the state, even elected officials at the national level, through party meetings and that kind of stuff. The state convention is similar. It's an opportunity for you to meet your candidates, to meet your representatives, to engage and to speak. Not just to speak directly to the candidates, but it's a platform where you can speak directly to candidates with an audience. There's a hubristic part of me that really enjoys those meetings when there's a speaker and they take questions. When I ask questions, when I ask questions at one of those party meetings, the people in the meeting get interested. I'm either raising issues that they haven't heard before that are worth thinking about, and they express that. They tell me it's worth thinking about. I hadn't thought about this in that way. I'm glad you brought it up. Or I'm asking a question that voices something that a lot of people already want to know, and just don't know how to approach getting answers and getting engagement on that topic. I've dressed down several of our elected officials at those meetings, and I try to keep it friendly. I'm aggressive, but I try to keep it friendly.
Yeah, I think I witnessed one or two of them. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a lot that our representatives just are not doing what they need to do. And part of that is I don't know who they're getting their information from, or who's dropping the ball with the strategic planning for a lot of our politicians, but they're missing the boat on a lot of important stuff. And you need to go and speak to them and tell them, hey, as my employee, because that's what you are as a politician, as my employee, this is what I expect. As our employee, we the people, this is what we expect. And one of the things we expect from you as Republicans, as Republican candidates, as Republican office holders, is that you will take positive, affirmative actions on behalf of the constituents, not merely hold a space to prevent Democrats from gaining more ground. You need to be taking inches to acquire miles. You need to do that work. So, Dan, tell us about what the convention was like this year. What did you experience?
Well, I got there like Friday afternoon, and about 1 o'clock or so, and there were speakers from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock on Friday. But I got in line to get my credentials, and I stood in line with Brandon Beach and spoke to him for a while. And I really didn't get anything out of him. I asked him if he was going to Arizona, and I asked him if he was just, what office he was going to run for. And he says, I don't know. He's still making his mind up about a lot of things. But I got in there Friday, and the one big speech of note was Chris Carr. And he was very similar to Kemp, with a few less people there. But he got pretty much booed off the stage. He spoke probably 5 minutes, 6 minutes. He was planning on speaking a little longer, but he cut his speech a little bit short. But he wasn't, it wasn't as bad as Kemp. But the real action was Saturday. Saturday at 10 o'clock was when you had to be in the building at 10 o'clock, or they closed the doors and you're out. And the mad scramble to get in was really something to see. I'll tell you, there was they have a bit of a bottleneck to get on that island. You have to run a credit card and pay $8 to get on the island. And that was getting all backed up, and I don't think a lot of people anticipated that. So then they were all running late. And luckily enough, I was being driven there by security. I had Josie Cruz's security guy was driving us around. So they dropped me off at the front door. I was in good shape. But there were people parking up on the curb everywhere imaginable. They were just, stopping and getting out and going in. It was a mad scramble to get in at 10 o'clock. But that Jekyll Island Convention Hall is the largest convention hall in Georgia, which surprised me. It is gigantic. It's just a little bit short of a football field, that place. And they were jam-packed. There was just under 3,000 people there. And, wow. And about half of them were all new. They were about 2,000 delegates. There were visitors and alternates. But there was some very impassioned speeches going on. I'll tell you, the one that a lot of people don't know about it was Sharia Ivy. She gave a heck of a speech. I mean, very impassioned. She really gave a good speech. And I believe she changed some minds. But, it wasn't enough. And David Schaefer gave a really good speech, and he hung on to it. He pretty much had it without question. He was the winner. But it was very interesting with Kemp. Kemp got up there with his daughters and his wife, I don't know, thinking they may give him some protection, but it didn't help. There was a lot of booing. There were a lot of cheering for him, too. But there was the booing.
Can I ask you about that specifically, Dan? Because what Kemp said, in essence, was that that the boos were manufactured. Did that Is that how you felt, or was it organic?
No, not at all. No, they were. No, you mean manufacture, like people were stirring it up, trying to get people to, but no, it was people's own feelings. There wasn't nobody telling them what to do or anything like that. I think it was just their own feelings, and they were just booing. There were some upset people, but then again, there was other people that were cheering for them and holding up these signs, and trying to drown out the boos. But those boos were there, and they were. I don't know. I don't think anything was manufactured. That was like, free feeling, they just did it on their own. And there was few people turned their back to them. And I mean, these are older, like veterans. There was a lot of, there was all kinds. There was older people, younger people. Myself personally, I did not cheer and I did not boo. I just sat there and observed everything because I'm still making my mind up. I really honestly do not know which way I'm going to go. And
now you hold an office in the local GOP, right? You're the secretary?
Right. I'm secretary. Yeah.
Right.
With yeah.
So officially the party doesn't endorse candidates for office in primaries, right?
That's true. Nobody is
right.
Nobody has said we're with this guy or we're with that guy. There was no talk whatsoever of that. Right. I heard.
For example, like right now we've got Vernon Jones is primarying Kemp, and the party is not going to endorse either of them against the other officially. Now, from a strictly analytic point of view, I would say that Kemp is not looking like he's in great shape. But Dan, help me out with this because I actually a little muddy on this from the last local meeting I went to. So we used to have the jungle primary in Georgia, but I think it's been done away with, and that should be effective as of this upcoming
just
election.
An ordinary primary, a regular type primary.
See, when Vernon first announced that he was running, I was concerned that if that we might get another Doug Collins situation.
Yeah.
Where Cameron and I have talked about this quite a bit. And I agree with Cameron. If it had not been for Collins intervening and causing the Loeffler jungle primary to move to a runoff, Loeffler would have clinched that seat against Ossoff. Ossoff would have been a distant memory by the time we got to the special election in January, where Ossoff and Loeffler wouldn't have been a part of the math, and the option for the Democrats to actually take a controlling interest, to get that 50-50 split in the Senate, wouldn't have existed. And given that option being taken off the table,
we probably wouldn't have Raphael Warnock either.
Right. Right, because without the possibility of Warnock taking that seat and splitting the Congress 50-50, making it almost a rubber stamp for Kamala Harris to just say, you know what, this is what the Congress is doing. This is what the Senate is doing. If it hadn't been for that, then the investment from the Democrats, especially out-of-state Democrats in Warnock, would not have been as substantial, and he also would have lost his bid, giving the Republicans a majority control in the Senate.
It definitely killed the Republicans.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some words for Doug the next time I see him. I'll be honest with you. I would have preferred Doug in that seat to Kelly. I really would have.
I would have. Yeah.
But for him to enter in that jungle primary like that and split that vote was a grievous tactical error that the party should have fought tooth and nail against. That was
it's especially now he's not. I mean, it looks as though he's out of politics now. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. He does his radio show, but
after such a gross tactical failure, it'd be difficult for him to proceed in politics because even as popular as he was as a congressman and as strong a pro MAGA supporter as just aggressive as he was in defending the president through the impeachment shams and all that, he earned a lot of goodwill doing that work, but Such a tactical error just cannot be ignored.
Oh no, yeah, those jungle primaries, they bring out the worst in the party. And although I don't think Loeffler was the best candidate, but he should have seen that it would have been best for him to sit out, and he should have easily got that seat.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall there. So another thing that I'm curious to ask you about is, I'm still kind of on the fence about Vernon, just because I've lived in Georgia almost my entire life, and if you'd have said 5 years ago, hey, Vernon Jones has a good shot at being the governor on the Republican ticket, I'd have said, get the hell out of here. Pull the other one. It's got bells on it. And now, well, here we are, and I've been following him on Twitter, and I've been paying attention to just to the interviews that he's given. So I'm really curious. You were there. How would you gauge his support? Did it come across as organic?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He gave organic. I mean, he signed it. He said everything right. He said everything. He always makes a good point to talk about South Georgia. He's going to put an office in South Georgia. He knows that he's weak down there. But no, everything sounded great. It's just a matter of, will he do what he says? And that's what everybody's questioning. But yeah.
And so I know Vernon. I mean, we're not exactly drinking buddies, but we talk occasionally. I like Vernon as a person. I do. He does come across as very genuine, funny guy, sharp dude. There are some hiccups in his past that are going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't see anything in his record that is the sort of a controversy that would hurt him if he were running as a Democrat. But they are the sorts of things that will hurt him when the Democrats use them as ammunition in their battle against him. Once we get to the general, I actually don't know who's going to be running against him on the Democrat ticket, because I think Stacey's got her eyes set on higher offices now and doesn't. Mm-hmm. She might go for governor again, but as far as I know, right now she's not running for governor again.
Yeah, if it's not Stacey, I can't imagine. I mean, Keisha Lance Bottom says she's not going to run for mayor again, but I don't know what that means.
And maybe she's got her eyes set on the governorship, but
I don't know. But I really can't think of anybody that's going to step up there.
I tell you what, if Keisha runs for governor, I will personally, I'll be running videos, and I will make it a point to remind Georgia voters, you should not vote for this corrupt, naked racist. When your campaign slogan is about your personal, immutable identity characteristics, the black girl magic thing, no. Just, I go back to Justice Sotomayor. You're kidding me. You can get up there and say, I am better than a person who is differently identified than I am. She said, I am more qualified to sit on the bench than a white man because being a Latina woman makes me more wise than a white man can be.
Yeah, that's
and she got confirmed. That's insane. So same thing with Keisha Lance Bottoms. She's an avowed racist. She cannot be tolerated. Hey, Alex is in the comments there. He says Vernon's on my show again July 11th. I'll be looking forward to that. And if you've got it open, Alex, I might call in if you don't mind. But we can talk about that offline. I don't want to jump in and turn it into the Chris Lowry show, but if I could get a chance to just say hello and ask Vernon a few questions. But I'm probably going to bring him on here sometime in the not too distant future too. But definitely July 11th, and that'll be an evening show. So yeah, go check that out. God, what July 11th? What's today? Isn't today the 9th? Today's the 10th. So you mean tomorrow? Oh no, July 11th. Tomorrow's June 10th. My bad. July 11th. Okay. So right after the barbecue. Good stuff.
I see a question there about say more about Sharia Ivy, and she's in the boat with Vernon Jones. I mean, she said all the right things. She sounded great, but then there's a lot of people that just don't trust her. They think she's she's saying it and she won't do what she says. But she really hit on everything about how to get the lawyers out ahead of time and how to motivate the voter base. She really said everything right. And she needs to be involved in some way. If she'll take a job like being a press secretary of some sort and talking to the people at CNN and MSNBC, Larry pointed that out, that she'd be really helpful in that way to get the point of view out to the liberal media. But if she'd take a job like that, she could be very helpful in a lot of ways. But I think she shot a little too high. If she would have went for vice or second chair, she may very well have gotten it.
Excellent. Well, then I mean, we can take a look at her in the future and see about getting her one of those spots too.
Mm-hmm.
So you said Schaefer did well as well, right?
Oh yeah, he had a real good speech. He touched on a little past history, like how Georgia is one of the states that was the late to turn Republican, and he talked about the history, like how our Democrat governors, Zell Miller and Joe Frank Harris, and a lot of them, they weren't the radical Democrats. They were the old Southern Blue Dog Democrats. They would be conservatives if they were around right now, and especially Zell. He was very close to being a conservative. But that he pointed that out. But he really spoke well. I think he learned from any mistakes he made in this past election, and he is standing up for a full audit. Which that's what I'd say. If Kemp would have said, "Okay, I'm going to go for a full audit," those boos would have just stopped. I think he could have just put an end to it.
And we need to be a little careful because we are on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
So we need to be a little careful about how we cover. I think it's okay to say that, to report that the news is that there are politicians demanding a full audit. Yeah. But we need to be careful about referring specifically to or making accusations or claims about that amphibian priapism.
Yeah, that thing they're doing in Arizona, we may want to do that same thing. Yeah. But another thing I want to mention, I wish they would have made a mention of it, is the one person that isn't even a Republican or didn't vote for Trump that's doing the most to clean up elections is Garland Favorito. He is really doing a great job, I'll tell you. And he's the one that's getting this started. I don't think Fulton County would be anywhere near what they're, as close to what they're doing if it wasn't for him. But I worked a little bit with him, made some phone calls and that with Garland, and he's just a heck of a guy, I'll tell you. And he's just a bulldog. He just keeps going at it.
Steve Rodemeyer dropped a pair of emojis in the chat. a smiling frog and an eggplant. And had I been sipping my coffee, Steve, I'd have snoozed it back in the cup.
The old Danny Thomas. Yeah.
And because we've got Dan on the show today, we're using a different software platform for the formatting. So unfortunately, I don't have ready access to the top comment, but the top comment award for you, Steve. But my man, you'd have got it today.
Well, one thing I'd like to say before you end is we need to go out and vote for Justin Kenney. We got just a few more days left, some early voting.
Yeah, if you're in Rockdale County and you haven't already, we had a birthday party for my little boy and my little girl. Their birthdays are right next to each other, so we were having a big old birthday party, and Justin Kenney just happened to be out canvassing while we were all, it was a little before the party was up and running proper, and amusingly, I think everybody that's in the chat right now was there. Nope, not quite, but at least half the people that are in the live chat right now were there. And then Alex McDonald showed up just after Justin Kenney left, but he happened to show up and he was about to knock on my dad's door. He got out of his car. He had a COVID mask on, and I'm seeing this just random person I don't recognize because he was wearing a mask walking up to my dad's house as we're all standing in the driveway. A dozen or so armed conservatives, and I'm like, what's this dude in this mask doing? And I just hollered at him and said, "Hey, brother, can I help you?" And he comes walking over and he gets a little closer, and I recognize who he was. I was like, take the mask off. Come on, get you a cold beer. Oh, I can't.
And that's when he
couldn't stick around for a beer.
He actually took the mask off.
Yes, he took the mask off. He walked over. He shook everybody's hands. That said a hell of a lot on its own. The fact of the matter is, Justin used to be a Democrat. He is not currently affiliated with the party and he's running for that probate judge position as an independent, as well, I think more correctly as an unaffiliated, but independent, at least in name. So your options for this probate court are two Democrats who are not qualified to do probate work, to do probate law. You've got two Democrats, one with a law degree who has less experience in probate law than me. Which, I mean, come on. And that's not a statement of hyperbole. I do actually have experience in the practice of probate law, having been a title examiner and, a good old deed dog for a hot minute. So, but you've got basically two Democrats, neither of whom is as qualified to practice probate as I am, and then one guy who left the Democrat Party and is running for this office. So your best option is basically a former Democrat. And that is becoming a statement which is truer and more common than I would prefer. Back to Vernon Jones for just a second. The fact is, he used to be a Democrat, and that is something that we're going to have to square with.
CEO of DeKalb County Democrat.
Yes.
I mean, that's about as Democrat as it gets.
Yeah. But with Justin, you're looking at a probate court that is so far behind in executing the work of the probate court. Because probate courts deal with, he'll be the guy that signs your carry license for one, but probate courts deal with probating is when you're executing wills. You're dealing with quitclaim deeds. You're dealing with real estate related law decisions, quit claims, executors' deeds, the execution of wills, stuff like that. And they're simply behind. The probate court here in Conyers apparently used the excuse of COVID to spend a lot of paid time off at taxpayer expense and simply not do their jobs. Mm-hmm. And I'm terrible. I can't remember the name of the judge that's holding the position now, but he's an appointee. He was not elected to the position. He was appointed to fill it when it was vacated. And this election, he's the incumbent running for the position to which he was appointed without adequate qualification, and a position at which he has done a miserable job. And he's asking for your vote. Screw that guy. Vote for Justin. He's the best option of the three, easily. He is a pro 2A guy. At least he says he is. He says that he's interested in making sure that those carry permits are processed efficiently. And remember, Georgia is a shall issue state, right? If you apply for a Georgia carry permit and you pass a background check, it is shall issue.
Yeah.
It's not some may issue crap where the probate court's allowed to bog you down and push you back and waste your time to effectively ban you from getting the permit. It is shall issue. Mm-hmm. And the backlog on the GCWs isn't even the biggest problem. They're so far behind handling the probate claims on real estate deals that the real estate agents and brokers in Rockdale County are actively complaining that it's become more difficult to do business in the county because of the probate court, because of the miserable failure of the current probate court.
Yeah, they have uncontested, cases that are, there's no reason they shouldn't be processed. But there's a third person running in that race. Hardy, is it? I think her name is. And
I think so. She's not even a lawyer, though.
Absolutely no legal experience at all. Yeah, and and she could possibly be the most dangerous. Yeah, but I don't know where she stands in the race. But
it'll be a repeat of the what was it, the Newton County coroner that I don't want to see dead bodies. What did you think this job was?
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say before we go, Dan, we really appreciate you coming on and giving us a firsthand account of, what happened, because in particular, I was really fascinated with, hearing what happened with Brian Kemp and then hearing Kemp's response and basically saying that, the audience was deliberately seated with people to
I don't believe
boo him off.
That's the case at all. Yeah. It's firsthand, I'll tell you, it seemed spontaneous. They brought those views with them, and they expressed them. Yeah, there was there wasn't time. There wasn't anybody able to go around and tell people what to do or talk to them, But it's he may have had it was almost a 50-50 crowd. There was some supporters there, but there were plenty that, were against him. Yeah. It was really interesting.
And the thing that really hurt him is he could be more open to an audit, and he could have
that's it. Yeah. I mean, the audit would have done it for him. I tell you, if he would have apologized and said, "Oh, it took me a while to come around," if he would have, we're a forgiving people. If he would have said, "I'm sorry, I didn't, it took a little while to come around, but I'm with you now," that may have eased some of it. But people want an audit. I'm sorry, I said the wrong word there, but people want it legally looked at.
I think we could say audit.
Yeah.
I think.
People want it to be looked at like they're doing in the Arizona.
Yeah, not one of these sample audit things.
No,
I get audited for my job, and I promise they don't only look at 1% of my work and say, "Oh, that's enough."
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not how audits work.
No, they actually got to look at the paper. They got to look at the paper. They got to, see if it's folded. There's a lot of things they need to actually look at. Everybody that's going out to Arizona, they've had Colorado, Pennsylvania, Alaska's went out there, and there's a number of states going out there. Virginia's going out there, and everybody's coming back saying this is very impressive the way they're doing it. They were just blown away at the security, the openness, everything. Every table's got a camera over it. They're going to have a hard time disputing when they come out with their findings.
Yeah, and now, oh god, okay. I don't want to be careful on this topic, but
yeah,
one of the things, and I think you've been at some of the meetings where I've hit them on this. Schaefer, Debbie Dooley, a few others, when they've talked about, we'll say that issue generally at meetings, I've said, hey, as y'all are talking about improving security in the future, here's my question. Why in the world was it not the case that there's a camera on every table while the vote is counted?
Mm-hmm.
Every vote should be counted in front of a live streaming camera.
Yeah, that could be done November 3rd. I mean, right after the, right after the polls close.
Yep.
But a lot of people agree that somebody's got to go to jail for this to really bring home the point. But then how do you get them to go to jail? And then they don't come out for the thing they're doing in Arizona there. It just doesn't make sense.
But again, let's not get too far down that road because we can't take another community strike right now.
Yeah.
the next time we get yeeted, it's for 2 weeks. If we get yeeted again after that, it's for forever.
Yeah. I know how to.
Yeah, and we're over.
We are.
Yeah.
I know Cameron's got to go make the donuts, and I've got to go make a war kilt. So thanks for tuning in today, guys. Dan, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your perspective on the experience. We will see everybody tomorrow for Firearms Friday. That's 0730. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and go check us out on the alternate platforms, pocketapp.net, minds.com, etc., BitChute. And we will see you.
You're on BitChute now, too.
Oh, yeah. We're on BitChute. We're on Rumble. We're on we're on everything. Daily Motion, pocketapp.net, Facebook and YouTube, obviously. And Periscope, Twitch. And we're about to be on naver.com, which is it's basically Korean YouTube. 그렇지만 한국 판도에는 다른 분들이 다 개방색 사람들 안 합니다. So we'll start streaming to the Koreans as well, and that'll be 재미있는 것은 재미있어요. So we'll be, hopefully as of next Monday, we'll be live on Korean YouTube as well. Cool. So not that I'm going to speak Korean the whole time, but I will definitely be throwing in the occasional 안녕하십니까 여러분 오늘은 아침에는 it'll be fun. So thanks for watching, guys. We will see you tomorrow morning. Be safe out there. And I don't have the end over screen saved, so we're just going to kind of